name's Neen James. I'm an impact and influence strategist, and I'm often asked for strategies on how you can have more impact in the world, or how can you be more influential in your conversations and leadership style. I wonder if you ever get asked the question, so what do you do? And there's about a gazillion different ways you could respond to that. And so what I thought I'd share with you today is an alternative way to answer that question. Depending on the situation you're in will determine how you'd like to answer. It could be a fairly low energy response where you might be sitting next to someone and you're flying from east to west coast and you don't want to have a long conversation, so you might want to have quite a short answer. Or maybe you're at a networking event, so your energy level is going to be a little bit higher, but you're not sure whether that person is someone that is going to want to do business with you or not. So your conversation might be maybe a little longer, but your energy level is maybe at a medium level. Or maybe you're at a dinner party and you're having a great conversation and your energy is quite high, and so that might be a completely different response. So one of the things to consider with your response to that question is, what kind of energy do you want to bring to it? Is it low, medium, or high? So think about that as maybe one axis of what I'm going to call the positioning matrix. The positioning matrix is a tool we use when helping thought leaders to answer the question, what do you do? Another thing to think about as far as an axis is, what's the focus area? Is the focus on you, the individual? Is the focus on the work that you do? Or maybe the focus is on the outcomes for your particular client or situation. And depending on the situation you find yourself in, will determine how do you answer that question. Now, we have a resource you can download at neenjames.com/resources, and you can go and download the template for this called Positioning Matrix. You might also like to read the white paper there, which is called Ideas, and that document will give you a step-by-step process of how to fill out the template. But when you're thinking about creating your own positioning matrix, let me give you a couple of headings you may want to consider. What's your history? What is a really short resume or CV? A couple of things you could talk about that might be interesting to the person you're talking about. For example, I might say, I grew up in corporate Australia. I was really fortunate to work across retail banking, telecommunications, and the oil industry, and I had a blast. So historically, that's a little bit about me. The second thing I would suggest you do is think about, what category do you fit into? Now, think of a category as a drop-down box. A category might be, I might say, I'm an influence strategist, a leadership expert, or a motivational speaker. What's your category? So think about that as maybe a medium energy response. The third thing I would suggest you do is think about, what are you obsessed about? I am obsessed with helping clever people get more done so they can get on with it and create more moments that matter. That's my obsession. What's yours? So a couple of those categories are history, category, and obsession. Another way to think about this is when the focus is really on the work you do, and that is, what's an example of the work you've done? I might say I have been fortunate to be the opening keynote speaker for many associations, industries including pharmaceutical, cable, media, and so think of examples where you've specifically helped someone when you're talking about the work you do. Another great way to think about this and how you answer the question is an analogy. Now, I do a lot of motivational speaking. I'm often the opening keynote speaker. And so my meeting planners describe me as the Energizer Bunny. So I will say, I'm the Energizer Bunny for your meeting, but my batteries don't run out. I wonder what's an analogy for who you are and what you do. Another thing to consider when answering this question is, what is really unique about you? People love to hear about your uniqueness. Now, in my situation, I'm an Australian who has a very international perspective, having been blessed of speaking all around the world for clients that I love and adore. What's your unique perspective? So that's another thing to consider when you're putting together your positioning matrix. If you're really focused on the outcomes for the person you're talking to, you may want to consider another category, and that is, what solutions do you provide? So what problems or challenges do you solve for your particular client or the person standing in front of you? Think about the solutions and talking to the solutions. Another area to consider is, what are the problems that maybe you know that client's having or that industry's having? And what's your solution for those? So those two kind of go hand in hand. Lastly, what's the purpose behind what you do? What is it that really lights you up? Why do you love it? You see, I love to help people get more done so they can get on with it and create more significant moments in life that matters, because that's important to me. I think people want to be seen and they want to be heard, and I am on a personal mission to ensure that it's those small little things we do every day that make the biggest impact and share with people that they matter. So those particular categories again are history, category, obsession, example, analogy, uniqueness, solution, problem, and purpose. Go to our website, neenjames.com/resources, and look for what is called the positioning matrix, and check out the white paper called Ideas. That's just a really detailed way of how you can answer the question, so what do you do? Thinking about stringing some of those together makes your answer so much more creative and is a great way to position you as a thought leader. Now that's productive.